part, but not all of it.
Well, maybe you should do the whole thing.
I know. It's like I haven't done this before.
I say that all the time at work.
It's
my first one.
I got you live.
Got it? Great. Cool. All right. Shrink this back down.
Yep.
All righty. Welcome, everybody, to Streams of Spero, War of the Garden chapter. What the hell does that mean? The Streams of Spero cast have split up. I know you're not supposed to do that in D&D campaigns, but I have been lately, since 5th edition, breaking rules. And by doing so, we have a new cast, and we have some familiar players, but they're not playing the characters from the Streams of Spero. They're actually playing from the live game, and that was a campaign I didn't record, so sorry about that. There's history to that, but we hopefully will find out to those things. I am Benito the DM, who has started Streams of Spero many years ago, and we are moving on to different parts as the campaign is coming to a climactic close, because the gods are free, and some of these players are responsible for that. And they have decided to come to the Garden of Gaia, where they left an old friend, King Azerian, and he's kind of doing some bad things, apparently, and they want to do some things to make sure that he can't do them anymore. And that will be, they'll introduce themselves as familiar faces when we get to that, but first we'll start with who's on the top of the left. Carl, introduce yourself and who you're playing.
Okay, as Ben said, I'm Carl, and I am playing Reldanius, a wizard in service to King Killian.
Art.
I am continuing from Streams of Spero to play Sai, who just recently has been brought back from the dead and has no idea what his old friend Killian has been dealing with. So, time to find that out.
And Mark.
So I'm playing Throkil Stormforge, our dwarven artillerist, and I am the captain of the city's defense in King Killian's service, the city of Kylos.
And Jennifer.
I am Jen, and I'm playing Cascade Brian, a druid from Streams of Spero, and I'm along for the ride.
She says that she's the only one holding the Titan mantle. All right, everyone we're who's talking about being in service to, Jacob.
I am Killian Hawkins, King of Kylos.
All right, and Josh.
I'm playing Electo Galanus, the captain of the ship The Friends Left Behind, former captain of the Heart of the Mermaid, which is a ship you may remember from Streams of Spero.
Yeah, I gotta ask, how excited are you to revisit Electo, having heard him in your podcast?
Electo was a great character. It was a character unlike ones I normally play. He was successful, gallant, stuff like that. So it was nice to be on the winning side for every once in a while. Whether or not Josh is continuing to be excited about having to deal with another of the Hawkins family is an entirely different situation, because that game wasn't live streamed, but that last encounter with members of King Killian's family did not.
There's only me left.
There's some bad blood there. Yeah. I'm not going to go ahead and blame you for the sins of your brother, Your Majesty. However, perhaps I will give you a shorter rope than we gave him.
All right. So, Josh, you're going to be a bit in the introduction coming, unfortunately, just because you're sailing in. So be patient, and we'll get you through things. So at first, though, it's more or less two players that we're going to start our scene with. So as you remember, you have dissipated out of the fog of this magic that was brought you here. It was been very foggy. You met the goddess Ezra and started traveling. And you're heading to Kylos, I imagine. But the rest of the scene is with you. You have three of the non-player characters with you. That is Electra, Lace, and everyone's favorite, Desire. Or at least my favorite, but we'll go from there.
I thought we were being, transported. We're just walking?
Well, yeah, you still have a chance. I mean, it's not far, but and you're not in danger.
Okay. All right. That was my question, because Ezra had alluded to the fact that if we walked, we'd be in danger. So.
Yeah, which is why Cass was going to cast something to get us there faster, and he said, "Oh, you can't walk through trees right now." And
All right, so I guess this is the first time Sai's actually really had a chance to talk to Lace, and who else came with us?
Desire,
and
Electra,
Electra, no.
and your Captain Cascade.
So I guess at this point I'd ask Lace. Well, how much do I remember from the histories about Lace Griffinclaw the Second?
What I gave you on the
No, I
timeline.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't get the timeline. Remember?
Well, you don't know anything about her then.
I did a little research while I was in hell, so
Yeah.
just the name.
You know she's come from that different place. You know she's a great fighter. You don't know much more than that. You didn't have a chance to talk a whole lot because you guys were trying to find the Drake, and then
Right.
from there all that other business went down.
So I'm just gonna ask her. I said, so I recognize your name from the history of Alanis, but why did they choose to bring you back from the dead? What did anybody tell you why you were chosen?
They said something about my fighting prowess was well noted, so I was the one of the choices.
But, well, I suppose I still don't understand why they were bringing those back from the dead. That was
I believe it was more of the will of the Raven Queen. The group didn't have much of a plan. This is why I'm here, because it was very loosely decided, and I thought I could be helpful more here, but no one seemed to have much of an idea of who or why or what anybody is doing at this moment.
so. Do you know who this Azerian is?
I have heard of their talking, but he wasn't of my time.
He was. It looks like, from what I recall, he was born after you.
Yes.
So, Cascade, you supposedly have had the history dropped into your head. What can you tell us that we need to know to bring to the king, who hopefully is Killian, who I don't know at this point is Killian, but you know.
and I'm looking back through my shit to go and see. Why do you got to do this to me right now, Art?
Because you're in the scene with me and you played it.
I know.
Sai's been dead a while, okay?
How far back was that, Ben?
The dumping it
The
in your head,
the history drop.
probably a couple weeks.
No, in real life.
Probably a few months.
Yeah, that's what I'm going through.
Well, I think if you look at the history, whatever's in the history, I think Ben is saying you know.
Well, wait a minute. That was like a Word document, or a document, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. A Google Doc.
I would have saved that. Hang on. Stream.
Well,
Well, I'll also ask Desire. I know who she is, where she came from.
you do?
I know enough that her father was Matt's character, and that she came here to fight. So I guess I'll ask her, why did you choose to come here rather than with your father? Just to have a place to fight?
Well, I figured there's definitely a war here, where there's a war with living souls. That can help my daddy much better with making a name for him. So the killing will happen a lot more here than elsewhere. Well, at least with living things. Like, I didn't want to deal with undead stuff, because then it wouldn't further my daddy's cause. That's
What? How's killing living things helping your daddy's cause? I don't understand.
Well, Daddy doesn't. Well, Daddy kind of figured out, but the abyssal runes on him was set here by the Devil Lords to empower my sisters and brother.
Oh, so he's being manipulated by the devils and doesn't realize it?
Oh, he knows. He chose it. He chose it on his own.
Okay, so is having your brothers and sisters here a bad thing?
No, I'm here. Don't you find me
Right.
helpful?
I find you very helpful. I've watched you fight. You are an impressive fighter.
Thank you.
Can you follow instructions and follow rules as we find our way into a military hierarchy?
I like to be freestyle, but I try to go in the general direction of the rules.
Okay, I can appreciate your honesty in that.
It's fun that way.
For you, maybe. For others, it becomes difficult, but
Only to Daddy.
that's fine.
I like stressing Daddy out.
I think all children like stressing their parents out. So, Cascade, did you come up with anything?
What was your exact question, Mr. Sai? Now that I
Not
found the
Mr.
document,
Sai. I'm Sai.
I could not. I have to. You'll get used to it, Mr. Sai.
All right. All right. What do you remember about why they chose to bring Lace here and to this realm?
Well, I kind of petitioned for Miss Lace to come, partially because I was a bit taken with her love. She had a great love, but Mr. HK, he seemed well taken with her abilities. I didn't necessarily pay a lot of attention to what he was saying because a lot of it was over my head. Maybe.
Well, and he talks a lot.
He does, and I tend to tune him out. Don't tell him that I said that.
Fair.
Please. But I know that some of it had to do with her experience. I know that there was some talk about experience with Azerian. I don't know. I can't remember if that was Miss Lace or if that was you or the Elven feller. But yeah, I'm really leaning into this. I'm sorry, guys. But there was a lot of talk.
Were you spending most of that time curled up as a cat?
No. If I had, Miss Zindred would probably hurt me if I did at that time. She didn't really trust me as a cat specifically.
Why not?
Well, do you want to hear that story right now?
As we walk, it's as good a story as any.
Well, Lace goes, what is our full objective here, Sai, seeing as you petitioned us to come here?
I came to defend my home from the threat of Azerian.
So we're going to keep the city from falling. That's the plan.
That would be my goal. To keep my city from my city, my home, my friends from falling to just falling, period.
Okay. Well, that's a good enough reason for any. You guys will walk, for a few, we'll say a few 7 hours. It's a long walk, but it's close by. When the city comes into view,
So and then I was a cat, and then I changed right back into what you see here, and Miss Zindred's folk kind of stabbed me. So that's how we met.
So she didn't know you were a druid before you changed into a cat?
Oh no, no. I decided to watch them for a bit first as a cat. I needed to make sure that they were trustworthy and all.
All right.
Do you wish to sneak in the city or announce yourself?
Walk straight up to the gate.
All right. You walk up to the gate. There's people going in and out. There's definitely stuff, merchants heading out, other people coming in. You are stopped by guards.
I look at them and say, I'm here to see the king.
Who are you for?
I am Samadalis. I have returned. I am here to see the king.
Samadalis? He pulls out a clipboard. I don't have you written down for anything.
I've been gone a while.
Well, you'll have to wait
What is
here.
the date?
What's that?
I asked him what the date is so he could tell me it's been 11 years.
Yes.
I have been gone 11 years. I was captain of the Stormblades when I left.
Ah, right. That's good.
Ben, the date that he gave me, that he said, how off is that from when Cass and well, Sai was there already. So the last time Cass was in the real world, what's the difference in date?
A year.
Wow. Okay. Great.
Hey, I lost 11. I was actually dead, though, so.
But yeah, I was alive.
Okay.
I cross my arms and say, fine, I'll wait.
After about 40 minutes, Ronaldus, you are contacted by guards, telling you there's an 11-year-old Stormblade guy returning.
"11-year-old Ronaldus? I know that you humans grow up quickly, but I think that's even young for you."
11?
That's what he said.
That's still a kid. I mean, hell, I mean, maybe if it was a goblin.
Nope, it's a dragonborn.
I don't recall that there's ever been a goblin Stormblade.
Yeah, well, the guy just said it's a dragonborn, so I got no idea.
Throkil, what was your history? You said you're proficient in history.
My history is +8.
You're proficient.
Yes.
You do recall there was a dragonborn captain that served under the king Demetrios back in the day. You never met him.
Whoa.
You know of one.
7 hells of frozen caves. That's quite... How could I not have thought of him? Back from the dead, you say?
Well, he just
One
said
of them.
He said he was gone, sir. Do you want to go meet him, or what do you want me to do with him? He's got a bunch of other people with him, including a tiefling.
You bring them to one of the receiving chambers where we keep them diplomats that are from aggressive countries, and we'll interview him there.
Yes, sir. So after the hour, the guard returns. He goes, well, the advisors of the king will see you, but we have to take you to a meeting chamber for them.
I name the chamber. I ask, is it the third receiving chamber on the right? Basically, I'll name the chamber that they would bring me to.
Yeah.
Fine by me. I understand where we're going.
Okay.
And I start to go.
All right. He escorts you with 4 other guys, and
Yep.
you guys will go there. The city looks intact. It doesn't look like war has hit Kylos, but there's a bit of poverty to it. There's a little bit more trash in the streets. Looks like a little bit more people who don't seem to have jobs anymore. But it doesn't look like run down or ruined. The people who still have money or wealth seem to be doing okay. The guards of the city look to be looking fine. So you haven't seen the aspects of war hit your city at the moment. You get to the chamber and wait. Carl and Mark, you can enter, and you will see the party, and I will let them explain who they look like, so you get an aspect of who they are, and then you can do the same about yourselves.
I don't know if I've ever described Cass Sai online. So he is a very large dragonborn. He is 6'8", clocking at 385. He's a huge specimen, wearing a breastplate, carrying a spear, and a shield, and that would be it. Nothing really. He is wearing the tabard of the Stormclaws, though.
Stormblades?
Stormblades, sorry.
No problem. Okay.
It's probably battered and beaten, as is all his armor, but he still has it.
Jen.
Cass has red hair, bright blue eyes. Did I say blue? I don't even remember what color she has. But she has turquoise skin. Clear, just as turquoise as you would imagine the beaches of Bahama, in our world. She's wearing light clothing, very, if you could call it armor, very, very light armor, a cloak, and she has a staff in her hand, pouches at her belt. And she's taking all of this. She definitely looks like a country, her face looks like a country bumpkin. She's taking this all in like, wow.
You want to describe the NPCs, Ben?
Yeah. The other people that you see is two humans. One seems to be in the same garb, similar of you've seen many of your normal soldiers of Kylos wear. So she's got the light blue, bronze shield, gladius weapon. Very strong, looks very athletic. Hair seems to be just underneath the neck like that. Don't recognize her at all in any of the few years you've been here. Throkel and Carl, of course, you've only had the year, so you don't recognize who this person is. But definitely looks like a warrior of that aspect, and in colors, the city's colors. The other human with flaming red hair, just her, and I'll say with both humans, there's a light tinge of light blue in their skin. They just don't look like sun-kissed anymore, so to speak. But she's very beautiful, you can see, she seems to be very athletic, very well armored, possessing of obviously magical weapons, and very confident, piercing green eyes, and definitely a warrior in front of you. The oddity is definitely the tiefling. She's got blood tone colored skin. She's very strong looking. Again, she's wearing magical armor in an essence of it is definitely adamantite. You've seen the amazing type of material it is. It is covered in abyssal runes, and she has a very sinister looking weapon at her side as well. And very confident, very attractive for a tiefling in the sense if you're into red. And that's the companionship of them. And Carl, who do they see when you come in?
A middle-aged or mid-20s human male, wearing a full suit of plate mail, painted light blue in the city colors. It looks like it might have been relatively recently painted. He is wearing what is like a light bluish gray cloak in a fine thin leather material. He's just kind of he actually will follow behind Throkill.
Okay, Throko, what do you look like?
He's pretty much a average height dwarf, pretty average build as well. Doesn't look like the kind of sort who is, I'll call it a gym rat, but he's not really heavily built. However, he does have the walk and the swagger of someone who has fought his way into and out of countless things. He has an officer's uniform on, but it is non-standard. He has very nice boots, but they're steel capped. He has a very nice dress jacket. However, it's reinforced at the elbows and across the shoulders and chest. Seems to be reinforced leather. Gives the impression of someone who's in charge, but also someone who gets dirty in whatever work it is that he's doing. Red hair, long red beard, and some kind of strange, like glasses, but oddly small lenses, multiple small lenses, very strange looking eyewear.
All right. So you guys see this this group of 5. They're in your city. You definitely see the Dragonborn that the guard described, and in the captain's in the old Captain Stormblade colors. What do you guys do?
Well, it's a little authentication.
As they walk in, I want to speak before they do.
Go ahead.
So I say, I am Simatalus, Captain of the Stormblades, personal guard to the King of Kylos, lost at sea with many others who have returned from that voyage. I've taken the long way to get here. I must see the king about the threat at their door.
Understood.
Hi, I'm Captain Cascade Bryan of the Heart of the Mermaid. I'm with him.
Well met.
Hi.
The redhead goes, I am Lace Griffinclaw. My story is complicated, but we're all here with Sai. And then Desire goes, I'm just here to kill people. I'm here for the war. Hi.
She's here to help.
Same
She's
thing.
with me. She's with me.
Well, I've done that job for many, many years. I understand exactly how she feels. Which of the manifold threats are you here to warn us about?
I'm not here to warn you about the obvious impending assaults by Azerian, but I'm here to help with it.
Very well.
And I have knowledge of how these events came to play, which may be invaluable.
If you are the person from the stories that I am quite familiar with, then your information will be very, very handy. Perhaps you could describe further some elements of Simatalus' story in the voyage that was lost. I need to authenticate you. You must understand and sympathize with the need.
You would see him. He wouldn't be bristling with annoyance. He'd be thoughtfully trying to draw back, and like he's not trying to hide anything. He's just like, oh yeah, we set out. The whole of the royal family's children set out to sea. We were caught in a storm and apparently killed by Hades himself to use as a game to get his way, to bring powers to be for him to attempt to overthrow Zeus. We lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I would name them. I would say of the guard I brought with me, we lost Orestes, Pallas, Lycos, The crew of the Heart of the Mermaid, Roth, Gerald, Aldous, Reard, and Simon were all lost along the way. Qualifornis, the elf that joined us, remained in hell to try and find an answer to this. I know that Varn, 2 lives, ideally calling himself 3 lives now. Thea, Melanie, Jason, Maximor, all returned to the realm, as well as Carme and Electo of the Heart of the Mermaid. We fought many enemies there. I can tell you details of those battles if you wish. Please don't ask me to do that. 3 years ago.
It was a little while. Well, certainly. So, the next thing I need to ask you is something which will be uncomfortable for both of us. I would never think of disarming someone as you, but I must think of asking you to disarm yourself and for your party to set their gear within this room, within your sight, off to the side, where it will take some of the more proficient of you mere seconds to regain them if you do mean us ill. But please, if you would set aside your weaponry and your armor to the side in whatever state you wish to arrange it, you can be the ones to set it over there, so that when the king comes, there is assurance that no ill will befall him.
Well, I have no problems with the weapons, but armor is difficult in that that's all several of us are wearing. Perhaps we could compromise and leave the weapons, and you could put us in a room other than where the weapons are.
We could bring you robes as well. Let's dispense with the armor. That is an excellent point and well argued. But please, and I recognize that as good adventurers, disarming may take some minutes. So if you could do so now, over there, your tables.
Sai grabs his spear and a really ornate bow, hands it to him, and hands it to Throkill and says, "That's all I've got."
And Throkill will go over to the side and set it on a table.
Cass will follow, and kind of look at Sai with a confused look and shrug and put down her staff and pull the dagger, her eating dagger out and put it down kind of gingerly and confused and walk back next to Sai like,
He'll give her a reassuring look and he'll say, protocol. They're here to protect the king. I would do no less in their place.
Lace and Electra have no issue. They immediately go up and drop off the weapons and daggers and all sorts of stuff like that. Desire kind of like slowly strodes over there, tail sort of flicking, looking like she's thinking about it. Waits a moment. Then she kind of looks at you, Throkill, and goes, "Well, I wouldn't really touch this sword. Just leave it where I leave it. Or otherwise, you might have some new friends."
No one is going to touch your equipment.
I'm just saying. Unless you like voices in your head, like I do. And she leaves the weapon there. But they all disarm. You take him to the king?
Okay, once everybody has done it, come back over. I will signal for the king to be notified and requested.
Okay.
Mr. Throkill, was it?
Yes.
I'm a little confused about your request. I mean, I put my staff over there, my dagger, and she's gonna go like that and give you a flower and go, "I don't need those."
I know magic is a thing. We each have our own specialties and abilities, but your willingness to do it also lets me know that perhaps you would not actually cast out of turn either.
Okay. Oh, I get it. And she'll tuck the flower behind your ear and walk back to Sai.
Desire goes,
He accepts it with good grace.
oh, that's a good idea, Cascade. I should have thought about flirting too.
I wasn't trying to flirt.
Well, you
What
put
are
a
you
rose,
talking about?
you put a flower in his ear. That's pretty.
I
Flowers
was just.
flowers are known for romance. That seems like flirting.
That was not what I meant.
Well, that's
You
the impression
hush.
I got.
You hush.
All right, the king, Killian, you will be notified that apparently your former Stormblade captain is returning, and he has a party of his own.
Well, but if I hear what they say, there's a dragonborn named Sai that's saying he was your captain. If I hear that, I'm gonna rush right over there.
All right. So as you're leaving the room, the hall, Killian is like running towards you.
As we're leaving,
He is also followed by a Stormblade that you do also recognize, Argos.
yeah.
And another one, but you don't recognize him.
As Killian approaches, I kneel. I recognize that he's wearing a crown, or he's actually the king at this point, right?
Yep.
I'd be like running down the hall and then it'd come around a corner and like skid to a halt when I see them.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's,
As soon as
it's
he
true.
gets close, I'll kneel in respect.
All right. The redhead, Lace, and Electra also kneel.
My God, it's true. You're alive. Stand
stand up.
Sai.
I stand up and I say,
Wow.
"Sorry, my liege. I took the long way."
But you're here now. You have to tell me all about it. Come. We'll have a feast tonight, and you can tell me all that's transpired. How you've come back. It's been so long since I've seen any of my old friends.
I'll follow him, and when I see Argos, I'll just give him a handshake, a greeting.
He greets you back. Sai.
I'll say, "You've done well to raise to captain."
Well, we try, but times are still trying. The king will tell you.
Well, I'm glad I left a good man behind. Sorry you didn't get to join us in death.
I'm still doing the service. In one way or another, we do what we need to do for the king and the queen.
Would Killian recognize Electra, being that she was the Queen's Guard for a while?
No.
Then, well, I'll do introductions to Killian so that before we go anywhere, you should know. And I'll turn to Electra first. This is Electra. She was captain of your mother's guard and died with her when the dragon attacked. She was instrumental in getting me back here as well.
Any friend of my mother in size is a friend of mine. You're welcome in my court.
Thank you, my king.
I'll turn to Cascade and I'll say, "This is Cascade. When I've met her, she was captain of the Heart of the Mermaid."
I mean, I'm still captain of the Mermaid. If I can find her again.
Well, the king knows that ship well, as do I.
Yes, it was a strange journey on it. But it's very nice to meet you, Captain.
We've had a strange journey. Well, Mr. Sai didn't so much, but we had a strange journey on it as well. That's how I met Mr. Sai.
I wouldn't discount how strange his journey has been.
I'll next turn to Lace and say, "This is Lady Lace Griffinclaw. Her story is one I don't completely understand, but like me, she was in hell and brought back by Cascade and her friends.
Well met.
Interesting.
And then I'll turn to Desire, and I'll say, "This is Desire. Believe it or not, she is granddaughter or great granddaughter to Apollo, I believe. Her other parentage is obvious, and her story is also complicated, to say the least. Would that be accurate, Desire?"
Yeah, I guess complicated if you want to make it, but it's kind of fun too. I mean, it's not like complicated is bad. I mean, just kind of say for me, I sort of have daddy issues. That's all.
Well, that's nothing new around here.
Oh, good. I knew I chose the right place.
She has come to fight. All we need to do is give her a good fight to fight.
Well, Sai, unfortunately, I think we will have plenty of fighting for her.
As I'd surmised from what I discovered while I was in hell.
So you get everyone settled in. You wanted a feast set up, so in a couple of hours, you have that. You're sort of mingling, kind of doing some small talk. Within a couple of hours, Killian and Throkel and Ronaldus, you will recognize Ilias has comes into the main hall for you guys into. He goes, "My liege, I have come to tell you an important aspect coming in. A ship you know too well is arriving in the docks.
What ship is this?
It is the Friends Left Behind. It is a captain you know."
The name of the ship is the Friends Left Behind?
Yes, King. It is the one that he is the former captain that you gave passage out of the city after returning from your long ordeal. Captain Electo.
Your Majesty.
This is interesting timing from Captain Electo. Have him give him a room and have him brought to the feast with everyone else. I'm sure he would be very surprised by our returning guests here.
Very well, my king. All right, Electo, you arrive.
Excellent.
And after a moment, they tell you that the king the king says there are interesting guests he is having as well. You'd be interested in, I guess, Captain.
Interesting in what way?
I don't know. I was pretty much watching for interesting things, which is you. I'm sure the other guards know more, but what can I tell you?
As he kind of sticks his hands in his pocket and kind of feels around like a brass cylinder, like a small scroll holder. He just kind of like fumbles with it slightly as he is escorted wherever he's going. His mind races a little bit.
Okay.
Who would be interesting to King Killian?
Of course, Sheila goes, are you going alone, or are we going to this party?
Let me find out who these interesting guests are first. But be ready to party if your name is called, Sheila.
So you're leaving us all behind, is that what you're saying, Captain?
For a moment. Give me
Captain. Even me.
Give me a moment. Do you think that is unwise?
Yes.
Fine, then.
Especially if I have to explain to Carmi why you were going to prison or something.
I would wish that fate on no one. Why don't you and Salador come with me, then?
Thank you, Captain. All right. So, Throkel, you would be the first to meet this Captain Electo. Your history will let you know that he was the captain who was part and led the infamous voyage of the Hawkins family. I don't have to tell you too much more of that because you're a player in that fabled campaign. However, what does Electo look like now?
Sure.
So we can understand who he is.
Sure. So he is a man, probably approaching middle age, if not firmly there. Looks as if he has been in sort of peak physical condition for all of his life, but is probably more old man strong than young man strong now. The beard, which he kept close to his chin, is now beginning to gray at the corners where his mustache would hit it if he wore one. But he has exceptionally keen eyes and seems to be observing and watching everything. There is not a fly nor a speck of dust that evades what he's looking at.
Okay. Following him is a very dark-skinned, brown dark-skinned woman with flowing partial white hair, sort of very loose blackish robes, revealing a lot of her skin. But your trained eyes Throkel could easily recognize that not only is she a sailor, but she's definitely holding components that make her a wizard. That is on his right side. On his left side is a, more or less to say, an Assassin's Creed Vatican-looking individual with a white hood, white dapper type of outfit, rapiers to his sides. He's wearing a kind of a mask, a ball mask in front of his face, more or less, but it doesn't hide his very harsh, protruding chin and tusk, making him pretty much of a half-orc species of what you know of him. He is very imposing athletically as a warrior on Electo's left side. And Electo, you would meet the Dwarven city guard. You've sort of met him before, so your tutors aren't unfamiliar with each other.
Well met. How have the seas been?
You're muted, Josh.
Sorry. I said, as I approach, I would extend a hand in greeting. It's empty. To answer your question, the seas today are cleaner than they were the day before because of the work of my crew.
Outstanding. And he takes your open hand with a firm grip, so there's actually like a smack as the hands meet. Perfect. And then he pulls you in. If you're ready for it, it shouldn't be a problem. However, otherwise you just get hauled in and clapped on the back and then set back where you were. It's quite a day, and honestly, I can't say that I'm surprised that I see you today, given our other guests that have arrived.
I heard word that there are odd guests, but I was not given any further information.
Like you, history has walked through our door. Walking, living, reanimated history. Let's go. We've given the streets enough to chat about. Let's go in where there's a better beverage and softer chairs.
And Throkill, you know my companions, Sheila and Salador?
Yes. If only by reputation, your deeds do you justice as well.
Well met.
Come, let's get back to the others.
All right. So King Killian, the old Captain Electo, returns. Different faces of his crew. They're not unfamiliar with him. You're not as familiar with Sheila and Salador, but you do know they're part of his crew. They've been with him for a while. So
there's probably like a belt favor that they wear or something to identify us as part of the same crew. Like that would be something that Electo would do. And now, how have I seen Killian since he ascended the throne? How long?
You know,
How long have I been away? Yeah, I knew I knew he ascended, but have I seen him
So
since?
you know, Killian took the throne of Kylos, and more or less remember your be able to purchase Friends Left Behind is due to him. That was he sort of honored the payment in that regard. So he kind of set you and Carme up for life. He understood the respect of things going on. He definitely was distraught from the events from the Angels and Demons campaign. So you have that aspect. So you kind of like, thank you. You came in. You probably dropped off some cargo, did a couple hunting, in passing. But it just wasn't like you hung out a lot. And Jacob's got a little bit of the backstory of why Killian was kind of a little offish until just recently, where things have kind of changed. And yourself, you also were all healing. Like, basically, you lost a lot of friends and family for a lot of this regard here. So there was a lot of healing process and being away. After purchasing the ship too, it was also how Melanie was taken out of the Kylos equation as well.
Yep.
So
as Alecto greets Killian, then he would not drop to a knee, but he would cross his arm across his chest and bow deeply at the waist. Your Majesty.
It's good to see you, Electo, as always.
It is good to be
How
seen.
have the seas? How have the seas been?
As I told your guardsmen, they are cleaner today than they were the day before.
That's good news.
I hear you have interesting guests.
you will see
If
Sai
I may
at the
be so
table.
bold.
And then
As
other
I live
descriptions,
and
but you don't know
breathe.
them. Yeah.
As
When-
I live and breathe, Cymantelus.
When Sai sees him, he stands up and goes over to him. He says, I had to find another way to get back.
My friend, I am so glad to see you on this side of the portal. Many of us over here never stopped looking for you. Carmi says hello.
I appreciate the efforts. It was obviously difficult for you to have found me. But believe it or not, I got out on your ship. The Heart of the Mermaid remained and was found by this fine lady. He points to Cascade and says, Captain Electo, former captain of the Heart of the Mermaid, I'd like to introduce you to Captain Cascade Brine, captain of the Heart of the Mermaid.
Captain Electo, it's very nice to meet you. Rodolfo says hello.
You know Rodolfo.
He still serves on the ship, along with the rest of the crew.
She's being good to you? The ship, that is.
I was gonna say she
I
is.
suspect Rodolfo is as
He's
cantankerous as
ornery.
always.
That's a word.
Electo, Rodolfo is part of another ship.
Oh.
Oh, I had him down in my notes as part of that. Oh,
Yeah,
never
he's
mind.
part of your crew that was from the
Never
first,
mind.
from another ship.
Never mind. Rodolfo. Oh, he's.
Do you
never
remember
mind.
what you did to Electo's crew members when you took the ship?
Yeah, I think kind of
Is
remember.
that coming back to you now?
Yeah, kind of. Never mind.
We're going to scratch that whole conversation?
I think,
Yeah, we
I think
did.
it's
The whole
wise if you
conversation,
scratch that one, yeah.
Scratch
So
that, reverse it.
when Cascade is introduced as captain of the Heart of the Mermaid, Electo will look a little askance at you because he still very much believes that to be his ship, but he also recognizes that time and circumstances have taken her away from him. So, he's not confrontational, but maybe a little skeptical of the fact that
Out of one of her heavier pouches, she'll pull out a book that'll look very, very familiar to you
yes.
and say, I've read through this. It's a little mildery now, a little moldy now, but I mean, if you want this, you can have it back.
He'll take the book and he'll paw through and read the battle by battle encounters that he faced and the number of kills that he racked and things that happened. And as he kind of thumbs through the pages a little bit, his face will get a little sadder as it goes through, as he remembers the betrayal of King Killian's brother and all those fun events. And then he'll close it.
Josh,
and he'll
roll me a d20.
Thank
please.
That's a natural 20.
Natural 20.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Continue. I'm going to send you something.
Okay, I like it. And then he'll kind of close it. It's like a leather bound book. He'll close it and he'll say thank you, and he'll slide it into his belt pouch.
You will have noticed that towards the after your own writing, new writing in a more flowy script has added more adventures to the ship.
Excellent.
But maybe not quite as descriptive. Point by point, more flowery, more romantic.
His descriptions were certainly point by point, and by his own, if his own attestations are to be believed, he is an exceptionally skilled rapierman.
There may be at least a couple entries that are, why the hell did he do that? And just that.
Like, that seemed excessive. Like, that's very much.
Why the hell did he do that? And that's it. No other words. Next day.
Lace will go, obviously this is fate, a reunion of fates. Something definitely pulling. We all know why that's happening for the War of the Gods that has begun. I'm assuming you're here for that, Electo, for the War of the Gods.
I have journeyed from the east. Killian is an old friend, and we have been to the other side and returned. And if the other side is once again trying to stamp its foul taste into this world, then my blade and the blades of those with me will be behind you.
From speaking with Sai, we're here to defend the city, to keep it from falling. That is something I know how to do. So, King Killian, as she looks to you, Jacob, what would you like of this newly formed retinue that you have been granted by the gods?
Well, as I don't know how much everyone knows, the words that have been coming out is of a new power, a new king by the last name Greystoke that has been conquering the other kingdoms surrounding his own and is threatening to try to take rule of the entire world as we know it. It appears that he's related to everything else going on, and that we're going to need to stop him, or the entire world will go to darkness. There's something weird going on, something supernatural.
Your Majesty, if I may, in many of my journeys since returning from our diversion to the other world, I have, perhaps not as deeply as your brother did, but studied many of the aspects of life and death, trying to go ahead and find some reason or some meaning behind what happened when we were away. I believe that it is those forces which have polluted this Greystoke's mind, and that if we can remove the pollution, then perhaps we can stop the devastation before it begins.
I can say from what I've experienced that when we last parted as a group, the Dark Sun, as he's apparently known, was given some of Silk's friends, and he is amongst one of them, this Azerian. And while Hades was unable to bring Silk under his control to overthrow his father, he either inadvertently or was manipulated into bringing upon a war of the gods with the gods of another plane where Silk was brought from. I stood by and watched as a god known as the Raven Queen slew. Which one was it, Ben?
Hermes.
Hermes. So, Zeus is facing a new threat from an entirely different pantheon because of the failures of his brother's plot. So, evil and oddity are power. These are powers beyond us, and this Silk is a god of some sort and has blessed some to be her, as she calls, titans. And I'm not sure what their connection is, and I don't know what her plan is, but I do know the gods themselves are going to fight.
Well, I mean, some of our friends are trying to mitigate that. We have a friend, Miss Zindred, and some others that are going to go to Zeus and try to make peace.
I appreciate, like I said to Zindred, I appreciate her desire to do so, but one of Zeus's children has been slain. Do you think he's going to sit back and try to make peace with gods from a new pantheon to take their power away? It's a war. We need to worry about the living, the land. The gods will fight them in it.
I don't pretend to know anything about wars between gods, but I know wars between kings, and we are dealing with that here.
That's why I came here and didn't worry about the gods. The gods will do what the gods will do.
Indeed.
Desire goes, well, the gods are going to sort of be on the battlefields now, though, so we sort of should choose a side. Or we're going to just totally be neutral and totally kill on whim.
How are the gods going to be on the battlefield? And how can we fight against gods being on a battlefield?
Well, we're Titans, and we just met one on the way to Kylos that was physically here, and we saw Hermes die, and we saw two of the other gods. So we've already seen three of the other gods show up.
That's true, but what did this Ezra want when she showed up to? She said she was the god of the mist. When did this mist appear around Kylos?
I know darkness. I don't know mist.
It appears to be connected to when this Azerian Greystoke took the throne of what he's calling New Greyheim now.
That's a funny name. Where is Old Greyheim?
It is very odd.
Lace goes, Greyheim is a very old, one of the most important cities of the realm that Silk comes from. It is known as the City of Heroes.
Does Azerian come from this realm?
It would make sense since we had never heard of him or his noble lineage before he took the throne.
When I spoke to Verquillan, this Greystoke's people made Greyheim their home. He does not hail from them per se by his birth, but his father did.
But he hails from that world? This other world you speak of?
Yes.
So he's certainly intertwined in this battle between the gods we've always known and these new ones.
So then is he the vanguard of this new realm as they try to take over ours? Is he the tip of the spear, so to speak?
What we know of is this Silk was not. She rose to goddess by powers of her own creation, but she wasn't. She started mortal. And this realm, the Dread Realm, whatever this haunting of a plane is, was what empowered her and empowers him. Requilin says there's corruption to be had with this realm. It is as much as a prison as it is a source of unlimited power.
Which realm? The realm they come from?
Yes.
Oh.
He sounds like someone who would be in league with my brother. Or whatever he's become.
So, ascended mortals from a plane of corruption coming here to usurp the gods here.
From what I understand, they have their own gods. They spoke of at least one god I heard, God of Law and Order, was talked about.
Tyr.
So, yes, I think that sounds right. Wasn't that who HK was talking about?
Yes.
So, maybe, Lady Lace, you can give us a basis of what we're dealing with from this other realm.
Well, all I can tell you, this realm is definitely, like I said, an unlimited source of power, but yet it is a prison to Silk, who's the most important individual in all of this. I've never heard of this Raven Queen in this worship aspect at all. And some of the talking was about the sword that you talk about was a sword of thunder with me. It was not a sword of Ra. Things change in this realm fitting to whatever aspects of Silk is here. But the only thing I can tell from talking with Requilin, and I wish he would have came with us, is that it should have been a prison. So whatever Hades did has ripped or connected the two realms. And that's where a lot of this is going on. And from what I can tell, not only has Hades tampered with the people of the dead and resurrecting her people, but the Raven Queen has just did it for the other side as well when she tried to resurrect 5 of us. So there are 5 of us, Androsius, me, Wind, Beauregard, and Requilin, that have been brought from our realm of the dead from eons, apparently. Our children have already been past and dead, and we have no connection to any of that, but yet we were brought back by this Raven Queen. So her ambitions and what her desires are, I couldn't tell you what their gods are doing.
Where are these others that you said were brought back?
There are other events happening apparently around the world, and they all chose to choose them individually. There's apparently a war that deals with the Stark Sun in the Fey Forest next to Greenwood. Where that is, I don't know. As Cascade said, a few others are going to go to St. Augustine to petition to Zeus about not continuing the war. Then Zindred's house was in danger for its establishment and Loth's resurgence to try to assert her power back there. So some people went that aspect. And of course the barbarians went off on their own to run across the plains. I don't know what that was about.
And then Verquilin said he was going to wander the realm, basically, to figure it out, right?
Yeah, we could probably get him, but the only thing is when we got here, and now we saw what Ezra did with the mist. I will tell you what I know of the mist. Once we're in it if he wants us in it. So escaping is now futile.
When you say he, you mean Azerian controls these mists?
He was, from what Verquilin said, once a very factor into this power of the Dread. Besides Silk, there was a shifting of power much after my lifespan happened. So there seems to be knowledge with what's going on there. I don't know exactly how we're going to find out more. But yeah, it seems like this stuff is centered around his will. That's what the king even said himself. Like, it started with the rise of New Greyheim and King Azerian's power.
Killian, how many towns has Azerian taken? How much has he conquered?
2 major cities already.
Conquered 2, yeah. He's taken 2 cities.
And there's no rhyme or reason or talking. He just attacks and takes as a conqueror.
As far as I know.
He surprise attacked. Now, Palasostios and Adropius. The royal families were slaughtered in the night.
Ben, you said he renamed the cities that he conquered. What did he rename them to?
He renamed Palasostius to Hollowdale. Astropius is Ashtown, I think.
Ashgate.
Ashgate, yes.
Okay. Milady, and he'll turn to Lace. Do you know these names also?
Those names are not familiar. But Ash is a part of something that is familiar. His actual father.
I've campaigned against Astropis. They're not fools, and they're quite capable. It's a full campaign, one full of glory and honor, and large fixed battles. Having taken them in a stroke over the course of an early morning is an indicator of both special forces and high strategy. Your Majesty, we need to redouble the Night's Watch. We need people with dark vision and mages to be along to keep an eye out for infiltrators, such things. If we are aware of him as a threat, then we need to be aware that the threat is probably already inside the city, and we need to begin moving now to ensure your safety and the safety of your counselors.
It would also probably be prudent to petition the help of any paladins that are in the city.
So it was your disappearance on the Heart of the Mermaid 11 years ago that began the process of establishing a bridge between this realm and the realm where Azerian comes from. This is how these gods are coming here.
It was Hades' manipulations in trying to bring Silk under his control, which was thwarted. So somehow they're all related. The Hades having manipulated someone into doing his dirty work.
So there was machinations that failed, but it set up some sort of bridge, some sort of gate. We need to investigate the mechanics of how we could close that gate, or what would be necessary, what level of power, what level of entity would be necessary to disrupt the mechanics connecting and see about shutting that off. That would be one of the best ways that we could fight against gods.
Cesare goes, oh, that already got resolved.
How did that get resolved?
Cascade did one of them.
Was that all the stones and the sins?
Was that what that was? That was a... How come... They called them stones. They didn't call them a bridge.
Well, those were the powers that were holding... Hades had locks on Silk. Once you guys took them and said free her, that was your bridge. That was your gate.
So by stopping Hades from controlling Silk, they also managed to create a permanent bridge between the two realms.
They sure did.
Did you know this before,
Who are you asking?
Miss Desire?
When you say before, like, when do you mean before?
Like when we met.
Oh,
When
Ma-
did you know this?
a while ago,
What's a while?
before we met. But it makes you important. I totally wasn't going to say, like, no to it or whatever. I mean, or say, you know.
I bet that your father and I both would have liked to have known.
He's the one that started it.
Regardless.
So, Desire, are you saying that can't be undone without imprisoning Silk again?
I mean, well, you could always change the forces of gods, but now, you know, there's alliances being made. There are more people in play now. I mean, you know, HK is dealing with the Fate courts, and Daddy's dealing with the Devil courts. So, yeah, there's just more people in the playing field now.
So, do you know if Azerian has any of these connections?
Well, I assume so. I mean, actually, I don't know the guy. Not really, no.
I didn't know what you knew, because apparently you know more than you let on.
Yeah. Pretty sneaky, huh?
Miss Desire, is there anything else that you need to tell, or you should, not need to, but you should tell me?
Well, that depends on your point of view. That's the whole point of all this whole conversation was I was told from certain points of view. Should I tell Daddy about this and let him know about all the children that he could basically set through and why it was important to get Zerial into play? Or, you know, just let him kind of find his way, because that way he'd feel more responsible to himself and how things kind of affect. But that was the whole point when he decided to sleep with, you know, my mom and a couple other women and made my sisters and brother.
Miss Desire, here's the thing. If we're not careful with this kind of information, your daddy could die. Anything that could really affect the way, you know, your daddy living,
yeah,
maybe
but see,
you should...
that's the thing that I'm paying attention to, I guess, that you guys haven't quite picked up on, is like, there isn't quite a full God of Dead now because there's more people in play for it.
Does that mean people can't die?
Well,
no, Hades...
they can die, but yeah, they'll die. But now, and there's the claim to who gets those souls and the power to that is a little bit more loose right now.
So who are the parties in play for that title?
Definitely all of the people that I know, and that Raven Queen, because she brought back 5 people.
I don't.
Yeah, you don't like gods. That's why I didn't bother telling you. You didn't seem like you really cared.
Desire.
Your Majesty, when the portal was first opened, it had something to do with your father brokering a deal. Have you, since ascending the throne and looking through his personal effects and writings, found any information which could help?
No.
This is probably a conversation we should have had many, many years ago, but now that we are here and having it, I find it strange that there's nothing.
Well, you know that he brokered a deal to try to stave off Sfazo. So a lot of it was Kylos and Sfazo have been fighting forever.
Sure.
So he was trying to get upper hand because remember Kylos lost the Battle of the Blossoms. So the problem right now with Kylos is it's pretty well skilled, but it doesn't have the numbers anymore. Like 11 years ago, they were hurting, and it's only gotten, it's okay, but it's still not great, not compared to what's going on in Greyheim, New Greyheim. There's something happening there with recruitment and whatever that's obviously changed. Now, you guys heard some aspects.
They're turning the people to their side.
Could be. There's a lot of things you know of, like, you know the other character, but you don't know as Killian. So there's some things going on. This is part of where you guys can decide how you guys break up. It's part of, like, what is important for your researches and your backgrounds, but you're digging into it. But Hades, it looked like that was probably a very small chain of events. And what was brokered there was it was more to help him get the souls and stuff that he needed for his next step. Obviously, Hades is a dark, sinister person and god, so he used Deimos for what Deimos wanted, but it got what he needed. Remember,
my father was just more his own personal greed and wanting his own personal reasons.
Yeah,
not knowing that he was part of a larger.
The two of you will also know, or more or less, or many of you in the group, Dark Sun isn't a big factor in the world yet either. Like, there is some rumblings in the Northwest, but it isn't the dark aftermath that you guys felt at the end of your journey and what came to the conclusion that he's been very isolated. There's definitely events, but
because he's a butthole. That's why
he's a butthole. Yes, I know how you feel. But I mean,
I agree.
Overall, that's not this guy being the threat is different. And I will say, there's another note that you guys will probably bring back into your minds, is the woman you rescued is his queen. So there is.
I was just going to ask that. Spazo, New Greyheim was Spazo, right?
Yes, he renamed it.
So, Killian, did you end up marrying her?
No.
No. Where did she go?
She
apparently to him.
Oh, right.
It was the first I've heard of it, but
all right. So,
son of a bitch.
The girl who got away. I don't know, maybe.
Wait, though. Wait. That's something. She married Azerian?
Yes.
If she married Azerian, we rescued her from hell. Azerian has no wife without what we did. There is an opportunity for negotiation there. I don't care that he conquered Spazo. I care that he conquers here.
I don't know if there's room for negotiation with that. We can't exactly take her back.
No.
We could, but
I think it this as a debt that Azerian owes.
It does leverage us an invitation, but I don't think it gets us any leverage beyond that. But it might actually start a conversation.
That's what I was saying. We have an opportunity to at least speak without going, please don't kill us.
How did the parting between Killian and her go or anything, or just like dropped her off, or like, hey, yeah, that's where you used to live?
Well, okay, so we recap. Remember, you thought about, or more or less the thing was like, it was a changing of your name. Like, you believed that there was a rebirth of names. Your sister went about doing that, but you kind of kept it to hold the Hawkins name. And it was just like, what you said, it wasn't my destiny. It wasn't what... You weren't going to hold somebody just because. And because of that, you kind of like both left with choices of your own. So it was what was your opportunity and what was her opportunity. It definitely wasn't against it. This is the other thing too. Like her rebirth, you remember you chose to bring her back compared to other people, which one of them could have been Sai. Was at the moment healed your relationship. So this war has been like your walls have not been attacked fully by Sfazo or New Greyheim. There are incidents that happen, which is Ronaldus knows about some things that have happened between conflicts between your nations. But that was kind of like, hey, I'm bringing your daughter back from the dead. Let's cool. So that what that means what happened to her father.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, nobody of this party was there when they met him and got a stone from him before.
So,
But you
speaking
do
of
know
which,
your other party members, the other streams of Spero cast, HK, Aletsky, think of Firebrand. They met him.
Yeah.
They took a stone out of him, so you know that's part of it. What all happened there, you're not sure. It just wasn't talked about.
so what happened with your sisters, if I may ask?
My
Was Thea ever
sister-
seen again?
Was
No. Thea was not seen again. And Melanie took her new name, moved, and said she wanted to leave the Hawkins name and history and everything behind. Begged me to forget her, and that's the last I ever saw of her.
She came with me to Jacksonport. We said our goodbyes, and she left.
Other than occasionally seeing Electo, it's just been me here. There hasn't been any of the
She traveled
returning
all the way
people.
She traveled all the way to Jacksonport to begin her life anew.
Indeed.
Cascade, can you
He's
give
the
me a
wep-
history check?
Because the weapon she left with is likely to be very important.
History. 18.
One of the notes in this whole thing is we're talking about the King Azerian, which is funny when you mentioned it, the crew to Electo. That's not his crew. These are people, your former crew are his former sailors. That boat was his. He gave
That's
to the
right.
crew.
Yeah.
The captain of that crew died. Zindri
Right.
chose not to save him. So you have old Sfazo sailors in your group.
Oh.
You just don't have the captain of the ship anymore.
That was my old ship, the one that sank.
Yes, but
Not not my ship, the second ship. My first ship
your
as
first ship
captain.
that you took over, yes, was a Sfazo naval vessel. The captain was petitioned or granted to the Streams of Spero group, and in
By
fact,
King Azerian.
and in fact that by King Azerian, yes, and in a sequence of play, Glenn did a smooth move and removed him and made you captain of the ship, if you remember. But those
Right.
crew, Dragos, Rodolfo, all them are his sailors. But they're not with
No,
you. You lost
They're
them.
my sailors.
But just to let you know.
Okay.
Well, what can we do to prevent all-out war with someone who can will this fog?
Is he the only one that can will this fog?
No, still can.
And this Ezra was goddess of the mists.
And where is this Silk?
She's a goddess. She could probably be wherever she wanted to be. Likely hiding and trying to find followers, as she has.
No, you told her and the Raven Queen to stand down until Zindra talked to Zeus.
Right. So
We
that's what
humbly requested.
she's likely hiding until Zeus is spoken to and probably still trying to gain followers. She is a god.
Well, she has one follower in your group right now.
I don't know that.
No, you would know if you say you denounce mantles. You know everyone took it unless they specifically said, I chose not to.
Was I the only one who turned it down?
I believe Aleski was the other one.
Alessi did too.
Androsius didn't accept it either.
And Josie did not.
Alexi had too much conflicting things going on.
Yeah.
Like, Josh did it for Alanis. Art did it for, well,
Yeah.
Angels and Demons. So
Androsius did it because he was never going to take anything from Silk ever.
and Sai did it because he's not dealing with gods anymore.
Hey,
But now I got it.
what a pipe dream.
Yeah, exactly. I recognize that it's probably a stupid decision, but it's a character-driven one. So
Totally, yeah.
I'm with it.
So
We
let
do
me
have
see if I understand.
we do have
Sorry,
connections built through her titans, those who accepted the mantle.
Who are they? Are any of
So-
them here?
Yes. 3 of them. Well, actually, did Lace and Desire become titans or not?
That's a good question.
I don't know who she offered the mantle of Titan to.
I don't remember if I gave it to NPCs or not. We'll see. Oh, Desire has one. So Desire.
As something that we can look forward to, Zeus historically has had very troubled history with Titans, given that those are the people that he kicked the snot out of to take the big chair. So
It is an interesting title for Silk to have chose.
Yes, 3 of them are here. Lace and Desire and Cascade are all considered Silk's Titans.
So I would say
Elektra's
that.
not.
I would say Lace, Desire, and Cascade all accepted the title. I refuse to be the pawn of a god ever again.
Would she help us?
Lace goes, what Verquillen told me...
I don't care!
Well, I know you're upset, but Verquillen told me there was a time that's where her goddess power came from. She was just the lord of this dread realm. That's what we fought and knew long ago.
Josh hates he's asking that.
I know. Oh, we lost you.
Yeah.
I'm back.
That's how much he hated it.
Well, when you
Hated it so much
when
he
you
left.
badmouth to the goddess, she's gonna be vengeful and spiteful. He's got to know that.
Josh said, "Screw you guys, I'm going home."
You got to be nice to the goddess. You know how she works. All right.
I'm trying to be nice to her.
So she goes.
You already rolled
So,
a D20 tonight.
There was a family that believed if she was worshipped, the faithful who worshipped her could change her intentions, and that did seem to work. And I believe what Verquillen said is that's when Azerian started to get more powerful with the Mist and the Dread Realm. But she is a person, from what I've always been known and told, from talking with Verquillen, is somebody with as much mental problems as I'm hearing about this other god Hades. Like, she is selfish, she's power hungry. I don't know a lot of what this goddess would be appealing, except that she is a master of magic. She now has the dominion of magic in Alanis.
Great.
But
She's the
what disturbs
Alanis
me is me and Verquillen and Wind have all come in later. We don't know what this new pantheon is. Like, there are like the Raven Queen. We don't even know anything about her. I never heard of Ezra. The Mists were around before, but we never worshipped or heard of the goddess that surrounded that before. There seems to be like other people she's brought in. Her connections seem to have changed over the course of this great history behind all this. And I definitely don't know who we're fighting in these other gods. Except, I think I heard Ares and Aphrodite as part of this group.
I'll turn to Sheila. Sheila, have you felt a change How recently are we talking, Sai? Is this yesterday, a year ago, a month ago?
The the mantle of Titans and the releasing of Silk from Hades' control is a matter of probably days.
Have you felt the
Well,
shift, Sheila?
Well, I'm a wizard type. I'm not. I wouldn't know if that changes connecting. But I mean, it's worth researching, and I could definitely pick some lore to it. But
I would say rather than days, I would say go back at minimum a year.
Well, no, Silk was released when we defeated the Great Drake.
True, but Mr. Sy, when you asked for the date and we got to the front gate of this here castle, the date that they gave you was a year since the last time I knew the date. And a lot's happened since then for us, but it's been I would say have them look back at least a year.
Okay. I was unaware of that fact. I'm dealing with an 11-year gap, so.
No, I understand. I understand. I mean, even just a year is a little jarring for me. I can't imagine how it would be for 11 for you.
11 years in hell was literally 11 years in hell.
Indeed.
Killian, has your connection with Athena faltered, changed, become any different?
No. It has not.
And she hasn't given you any warning or portents or omens as one of her paladins?
Nope. Have not heard anything.
Forgive me for asking this, but have you tried in the last year or so? Is it through lack of trying, or is it just?
I want to clarify a little bit for those. The reason why some of these things are happening, and it was one of Matt's biggest conflicts, is I really hope everyone kind of understands these are Greek type of the Greek gods, and the concept is exactly as stated. They're assholes and they're selfish themselves. They don't come down for you guys' mercies. These are not the Forgotten Realm gods or anything.
It's just they need something.
They come down to play.
For fun.
Yeah, they show up like Zeus shows up to make love to mortal women and make Titan babies or hero babies, whatever. They do things like that. Maybe they'll give you good weather. They might keep Scylla off your back. But they don't come down and respond. That's really where Zindred's showed you a little bit difference, because the Raven Queen was guiding the Streams of Spero cast.
Manipulating.
I call it guiding.
From a certain point of view.
From a certain point of view, fair. But that's where some of this thing is like a debatable situation where, remember, and I know this. We've done this every month, like once a month. One of Zindred and Silk's biggest pitches to you guys was, we would do something for the realm if we were your gods. So they were a little just curious, sort of disappointed why Zindred wanted to make peace. Like, they're ready to go and do this because they want to be involved with you. And those are those type of gods. So these gods are very new, very active, and getting very personal with shit, where your old gods, they just don't do that. You know, they give you stuff, blessings of weapons, maybe a weapon will show up, or armor. They do things like that. They don't come down and help or talk to you. But that's beneath them. They're gods. You're mortals. That's the way.
I have met 3 of their gods. There's something to that in their forms. Lace, out of curiosity, you're a warrior, not a member of the faith, but whom did you worship in the other realm, and what was their pantheon?
I also did not worship gods. I respected Tyr for what he stood for, and Torm, and we had a bit with Tempest, but I did not personally hold any services for those faiths. I wielded and mastered the blade and the people who also served behind that. I was a war leader. My friend, just sort of Wind, was a devoted paladin of Tyr, which does make a big point of the balance in the Dread Realm from which Silk has. And that Tyrian title is what she has desired of the male paladin that got her stuck in the Dread Realm in the first place.
Tyr is Law and Order, right?
Yes.
And Torm and Tempest are?
Torm was bravery, courage. Tempest was the storms. Also bravery.
Tempest was battles.
Battles.
Sorry, I'm usually playing the faithful one, so. So there's so much. We have to worry about Azerian conquering to conquer. But there's also this god war that's going to affect us one way or the other.
Do we know what forces he has to bear? Does he just have common soldiers? Or is he just vampire men?
He must not have common soldiers if he's been able to take cities in a single night while people slept. He has supernatural aid or exceptionally skilled special forces.
Like who?
I don't know. Has he brought people over from this other realm of dread? Is the bridge sufficient that more forces can travel that are not gods?
I don't
I
think
thought
so.
the bridge was closed.
Yeah, I mean, it's only been these gods that have been bringing back those from the dead.
We do.
Well, what is it? What is our tactical situation?
Hold on just 1 second, folks.
Yeah.
Pause. I'm going to take a quick little break. OSB just kind of broke off me right now, and so I have to reset this again.
All right.
It's been crashing
I'm
every
gonna
once in a while.
I'm gonna run to the bathroom and get a little bit more.
Timing to do that.